Hey guys, I'm Jordan Winter, and you're watching No Free Lunches. Today we're here in Lawrence, Kansas, looking for hidden gems. Keep your eyes peeled.
Toma.
I'm here at Leeway Franks in the Hillcrest Shopping Center just south of 9th and Iowa. Lee has been serving up handcrafted sausages since 2015, and with the addition of the butcher shop, there's even more reason to check out this hidden gem. So I think what we should start off with is if you can tell us a little bit about your origin story, like how you got your start as a butcher.
Yeah, I grew up in a little town in North Dakota, and as a teenager got a job in a local butcher shop. Main Street, Amanda, North Dakota. It's called the Butcher Block. It's still there, and I got hired on for deer processing during deer season. Just started out making sausage, learning how to grind, cleaning the smokehouses, a lot of cleaning, breaking down carcasses and stuff like that after they'd been boned out. I was a house butcher for a restaurant downtown for 3 years. Yeah, and then I opened Leeway Franks 4 years ago. Just as a way to kind of showcase our sausages.
What are some of the ways that you kind of respect the ethical practices of being a butcher?
Knowing where your food comes from is a big thing for me, you know. Respecting the animal, I think, you know, I'm Native American, and there's a lot of core values that I keep in mind when I'm butchering, trying to utilize as much of the animal as possible and not waste anything.
Yeah, I feel like that's a huge Native motif too, is just not let anything go to waste. And can you tell us more about what it's like to be a Native-owned business here in Lawrence?
You know, there aren't a lot of us, but I feel like there's a lot of opportunity. I went to Haskell. I graduated from Haskell in 2008. Really kind of learned a lot more about my heritage, moving away from home, and meeting different people and hearing their stories as well. And so I feel like there actually is a lot of opportunity if you're a minority-owned business. There are people that can help you out through the state, through Network Kansas, like we use. It's an amazing feeling to have that resource available. And
now that you have been living in Lawrence for a while, what was it like trying to find farms where you could locally and ethically source your meat?
I feel like we have a great farmers market. We're surrounded with amazing small family-owned farms that raise every type of animal you can imagine, grow all types of crops. North Dakota has kind of a small, like, short growing season, so when I moved here, I was like just blown away by how much produce is grown here. Fruits, native fruits, things I've never heard of before. And yeah, I feel like it's pretty easy. We have a great resource in town, the Community Mercantile, which is like right across the parking lot from us, and we love them over there. They've since day one been supporters of what we do. Yeah, I feel like we're really lucky in Lawrence, actually. I feel like it's easy.
For sure. That's kind of like a quiet revolution happening in the food system right now too, is just connecting people with the earth and, you know, having all of those options for fresh, locally grown produce, farmers market, the whole deal.
Absolutely. I think people in Lawrence are kind of ahead of the curve when it comes to that sort of thing.
Well, thanks so much for having us today.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Thanks.
For sure. Well, we're going to go ahead and pop next door and grab a bite to eat.
Sounds great.
So all of our ground beef comes from local farms. This last batch is from Creekstone, and it is all ground in-house, which is very nice because our burgers turn out exactly the way we want them every single time.
Also, I saw a sign over there that said Leeway Franks was rated first in Lawrence for the best tater tots.
We do have the best tater tots in all of Lawrence.
What makes them so special?
I don't want to brag, but the secret ingredient is love. We, with all our hot dogs, smoke them every week, and then we cook them on the flat top in a medium smoke point, clear oil. That gives us the perfect texture on every single casing, every dog, flawless, every single time.
This is beautiful, wow. All right, well, should we go ahead and chow down?
Let's do it, yeah.
Awesome.
I'm so excited for you to try our Impossible Burger. It is the first time I have absolutely fallen in love with a burger. It was the first time I had that.
Really? And it's so beautiful too. I love the way that you guys do the pickles. It's got awesome presentation.
Oh yeah.
Let's see how it tastes.
I don't know that there's a seatbelt on that, but however you can buckle up, I would recommend it.
Buckle up.
In my mind, it's the perfect burger.
It is, because it's classic. It's got all the fixings of a regular burger. That Impossible Burger tastes so much like beef because it's crispy on the outside, but then it's kind of rare on the inside.
Yeah, their texture is just spot on. I don't know how they do it, but...
Texture is always the hardest part to get right about veggie burgers as well. So the Shy Dog, what's your favorite ingredient on that?
I don't know. They're all amazing, but I gotta say, it's the only dog that's really ever got tomato on it. And having that little added bit of moisture on top of Lee's already like textbook Franks is just like, it's eating heaven. It's incredible.
Can you really taste the difference too?
Oh, absolutely. So the way that we do our sausages, Lee is picky down to the primal cuts that he decides to put in the sausage, which is next level compared to how like factory batch sausage is done. And it's just such a well-cultivated recipe that every single time you buy it, you get that perfect snap of the casing. The texture on the inside is moist, it's warm, it's perfect.
Awesome. I can see why they're best in Lawrence. They're crispy, they're seasoned really well, which makes all the difference.
I've worked here about 6-7 months now, and every single day I will still go to town on some potato tots.
Yes.
It's classic.
And it's kind of weird because they're creamy on the inside, so it's almost like the best of, you know, tater tot versus mashed potato.
Yeah.
Potatoes are so versatile. I love it.
And we do our own hand-cut fries, so literally any potato product you choose here is going to be the best version of what it is.
I love the potatoes as like an intermediary too, because you're like, okay, I've got the flavor in my mouth. Now I just gotta like have a little palate cleanser. And you go right back to it.
You're taking such calculated bites out of that burger.
I'm trying not to let it fall apart in my hands. I'm notorious for letting sandwiches just like disintegrate as I'm holding them, as Adriana said in our last episode.
I think that's probably the best way to eat a sandwich. So if you're not getting messy, you're not really eating. I say as my hands are covered in poppy seeds and mustard.
Lee and I had a really interesting conversation about the ethics of preparing an animal and being a butcher.
Exactly.
And we kind of talked about both of our native heritage as well, just because, you know, that's a huge motif. You gotta waste none, use all.
Especially being a business in 2019, we have to be conscious of how we're using what we're using, and Lee is very good about that.
I always love my fries to be the really thick steak cut ones.
We're one of the few restaurants in town that does malt vinegar too, and a thick cut fry with malt vinegar is just perfect. Yeah,
it's a little acidic, but that kind of has a really good interplay in between the hardiness of the potato.
And as a goof in the kitchen, one time we made a charcuterie board out of hot dogs and brats, just like already cooked, tater tots, and just some of our like house pickled vegetables. And we actually had a customer come in and say, "Oh, that's a beautiful board. Can I have one of those?" "Oh, so sorry. We can't sell it because that's not what we do."
You weren't like, "Slip me a 20 and I'll make you one." That's so funny. That sounds like a culinary cookout plate. Well, thanks so much for sitting down with us today, Sam, and making this amazing food.
Hey, more than happy to. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. To check out more hidden gems, head over to nofreelunches.co, where we cover Terrebonne, La Estrella, and the Mediterranean Quick Stop. Stay up to date by following us on Instagram and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Links are in the description. Thanks for watching.